Hi, and welcome to an explanation of how to find longitude and latitude. Now remember, latitude goes right to left, and longitude goes up and down. In this case, it's curved at the edges, just because we're trying to represent a three-dimensional globe on a flat map, so things get distorted a little bit. Let's start out trying to find the latitude and longitude of Santiago, Chile, which is right about there. First thing we want to do is figure out whether it's north or south of the equator, and this will allow us to find latitude. So if the equator is right here, it's this basic line of latitude, Santiago is clearly below, meaning it's in the southern hemisphere. So we are going to remember that it's in the south, and then we try to figure out how far down it is. Now there won't be lines of latitude for all 90 of the lines south of the equator written on the map. That would make the map way too cluttered. So we're going to have to estimate. And so we go down on the side and see how far down we are. Go down, 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 down. And it looks like Santiago is at about this level of latitude. And so that's maybe it's between the 20 and the 40 degrees south lines. Let's say it's 31 degrees south. So 31 degrees south, comma. And so we found its latitude. Now to find its longitude. We start out looking at the prime meridian, which is the central line of longitude. Is it east, meaning over here, or is it west, meaning over here, of the prime meridian? Well, it's clearly to the left, so it's west of the prime meridian. And then we need to find out how far west. We'll write that right there. So it's between the 60 and the 80 degrees west line. So we'll follow it down. And remember, as we're tracing longitude, if the longitude lines on the map curve, we need to curve along with it. And really, I mean, you can just look right here. It looks like it's about halfway between the 60 and the 80 degrees west lines. So we'll call it 70 degrees west. And that is latitude and longitude for Santiago, Chile. 31 degrees south, 70 degrees west. That's how you write it. That's how you say it. All right, let's try a different city. We'll go with Baghdad, Iraq, which is right about there. Whoops. It's right about there. All right, so first step, is it north or south of the equator? It's clearly north. So, how many degrees, though? All right, we go up, up, up from the equator. It looks like it's about on that line, and that line to me is more than halfway between 20 and 40 degrees north. So let's call that 33 degrees north. 33 degrees north. So we've got the latitude. Now the longitude. First, is it west to the left or east to the right of the prime meridian? It's clearly to the right, so it's in the east. So a certain number of degrees east, but how many? It's, all right, we go choo. Okay, it's between the 40 and the 60 degree lines. We can trace this on the arc as it goes up. It looks like it's a little bit, I mean, heck, again, you can see it down here. It's probably 3/4 of the way towards the 40 degree line rather than the 60 degree line east. So let's call this 45 degrees east. So Baghdad, Iraq is at 33 degrees north, 45 degrees east. Next, Wellington, New Zealand, which is right about there. First, line of latitude. Is it above or below the equator? Clearly below, so we're dealing with a south latitude. How far down? Well, that's easy. It's right on the 40 degrees south line. So, 40 degrees south and east-west. Well, it is, if this is the prime meridian, it is clearly to the right, meaning it's to the east, and it's all the way over here. it's almost, when you look at it right here, it is, what, 2/3 of the way to the 180 line from the 160 east. So let's call that 173 degrees east. Very close to 180 degrees of longitude, which is equally far away from the prime meridian on both sides, which is the what? The international date line. I hope you guessed that. All right, let's next city. The next city is Manila, Philippines, right about there. So, starting from the equator, is it north or south? Clearly north of the equator. How far north? Looking right here, it looks like it's about 3/4 of the way towards 20 degrees north from zero, so we'll call it 15 degrees north. Next, finding longitude. Here is the prime meridian. It is clearly to the right, so it is in the east, and it is very close to this line. Which line is this? Looks like the 120 degree line. It's really only a couple degrees to the east of 120, so we'll call it 122 degrees east. So Manila, Philippines is at 15 degrees north, 122 degrees east. This time, let's try Seattle, Washington, right about there. It's a great city. I lived there for a while after college, just kind of doing crummy jobs and having some fun with my friends. So I totally recommend it. You should go there. But in terms of longitude and latitude, where is it? Latitude first, it's above the equator, so it is north. How far north? Oh, it looks like it's not quite halfway between the 40 and 60 degree north lines, so let's call it 49 degrees north. How far east-west? What's the longitude? Here's the prime meridian. It's to the left, meaning it's to the west, so it is in the western hemisphere. Let's see, right here, it is just past this line, which is the 120 degrees west line. It's not quite, it's probably 1/5 of the way past the 120 to the 140, so we will call it 124 degrees west. That's probably about where Seattle is. Now, sometimes we'll be doing this the other way. We're going to be starting with coordinates that we know, a latitude-longitude combo, and we need to find what's there. So let's start with 28 degrees north, 33 degrees east. And this process is described on the bottom half of the handout, explaining how to do this step by step. 28 degrees north, so we know that it is this side of the equator. Let's go over here. Here's the 20 degrees north, 28 degrees north. All right, so it is about there, somewhere on that line of latitude. Forgive it for meandering a little bit. Next, 33 degrees east. So, since it's to the east of the prime meridian, we know it is over here. So, 33 degrees east. Here's the 20 degree mark. Here's the 40 degree mark. Let's see, it's a little bit towards the 40 degree mark, a little bit more than halfway there. So it's probably around here, 33 degrees east. Aha! What is that? That looks about like Cairo. That wasn't so hard. All right, last one. Let's try to find the city at 15 degrees south, 67 degrees west. All right, so south. We'll start out with latitude, as always. We know it is below the equator, somewhere down here. 15 degrees means it's about 3/4 of the way between these two lines towards the 20 degrees south, going right about there. So it's somewhere on that line. 67 degrees west. All right. West longitude means to the left of the prime meridian. Here's the 40, here's the 60, here's the 80. So it's between the 60 and the 80, about a third of the way towards 80 degrees west. And we follow this up, or we just look there because we're getting good at this skill, and we see it's right about there. And that is La Paz, Bolivia. All right. Good job. You have hopefully totally mastered these two ways of using latitude and longitude. Practice a little more. If you need to, come back to this video and watch it some more or talk to me in class. See you later.